stand. I can't believe now I have to complain about younger generations. Am I this old already?
No.
I'm in my
complain
early
about younger
20s and
generation.
I'm already complaining about the younger generation.
I complain about the younger generation, and I'm 16. Or no, I'm 17. I forgot my age. I mean, they might know what Big Mac is, which is a giant Apple Macintosh computer.
I thought it was this giant burger you could get from McDonald's.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And Tabbycat406 is, at least for now, not going to be with us because he's not home at the moment. But we are both here we both missed, and we were all gone last week. So
it's so funny. Some of the biggest Apple fanboys out there. We all missed WWDC.
And for possibly good reasons that we'll get into later. But shall we go ahead and get started with our first topic?
Sure. Let me pull up the notes here. Oh, yeah, I see what the first one is. I got new AirPods Pro. I just had the old set. I don't know where I had them, but yeah, I got new AirPods Pro for a couple reasons. One, my left earbud failed just completely. I got no sound out of it. Two, the same issue that I always have with these stupid things, probably because of a design flaw. I hadn't had active noise cancellation or transparency modes for at least 6 to 8 months at this point. So, yeah, having that back. And I finally figured out what the issue is. The problem is dirt is getting in the microphones, and so it's not working.
So you're cleaning them now with your new pair?
Yeah, I'm going to have to clean them more. I'm going to try to figure out how to clean them more often. The thing is, I just want to make sure I don't damage them by accident, because I know sound equipment is very fragile to the touch. And so... Oh, but yeah, and then the final reason...
USB Type-C.
It has USB-C. Even though I have yet to use the port, because typically I wirelessly charge these things, but hey, I'm getting a USB-C iPhone towards the end of the year. Might as well get USB-C AirPods.
Yeah, I was debating buying a USB-C case for my AirPods Pro too, because the actual buds themselves are still good, but I'm not sure if I want to do that quite yet, just because though I can technically use AirPods, is because my iPhone 14 Pro still runs iOS 16.0.2, and the USB-C AirPods require iOS 17 or later, I believe, in order to like have full compatibility and features. So
That's odd.
I might just wait until I upgrade. I'm probably just gonna wait until I upgrade my phone.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm finally starting to get the deals in. I'm finally starting to get deals on 16s in, which is a good thing because, oh my god, I love the hardware of the phone, but I can no longer say I love the software of this. This is just... iOS 18 is driving me absolutely mad, man. I can't stand it.
Neither can I, but it doesn't look like it'll be fixed with iOS 26, but we'll get into that later. But shall we move on to our next topic?
Oh, more Idiot Award nominees.
So I have one. So Alpha has one. I believe Alpha has one, but
the one I
have
just
one
shared
from.
You?
Huh?
The one I just shared you, or is it something else?
Yeah, the one you just shared me.
Oh.
Or shared to me, but I don't. When is this? Where is this Idiot Award?
This is on my latest video.
Yeah, I'm trying to find mine because I think I have. Okay, I was here. This was one when I was gone, I believe, so...
Yeah, so...
Wait a second, let me look on my phone.
While you're searching for that, I'll comment about this guy. I'm not going to mention him by name, but...
That guy's commented on my channel too, just FYI.
Yeah. But there's something about this type of comment that drives me... In fact, there's some things about younger generation culture that I cannot stand. I can't believe now I have to complain about younger generations. Am I this old already?
No.
I'm in my early 20s and I'm already complaining about the younger generation.
I complain about the younger generation and I'm 16. Or no, I'm 17. I forgot my age.
Been there, done that. Oh, but yeah, it's just this language. And my mom's a school teacher, and she has to deal with this generation. And some of the language or code names, it's just, why does it exist? I mean, there's some things that even the Zoomer generation, whatever, Gen Z or whatever does too, that I just don't, it's like, speak English! Not gibberish or idiot or whatever you want to call these other
Generation Z
like,
does that too.
Something that
so.
Yeah, something that drives me nuts is how everyone just says bruh. Bruh.
Bruh. I know, it's so stupid.
Okay, like I know Tabby does this, which I'm not trying to be offensive here, Tabby. It's just this is something that actually does drive me. Why does everyone have to say bruh? It's just now become so annoying, and I mean, my own personal friends do this. I don't understand why they have, why? Just English. yeah,
Please
that's
read
one.
this
and
comment
then,
now.
Yeah, and then there's these other comments like from this. Supposedly they claim it's Gen Alpha slang. It's like, I don't care what it is. I just want English. Don't sound like a complete moron. It's like, so here's the combination of the two comments. It's first up, this guy looks Sigma. You know it's bad when you have to put in parentheses what the heck your thing means. He has to say, which means being independent.
That's not bad.
I mean, they're supposed to be compliments, but they make you sound like I'm an idiot.
I know.
And here's the other. Then here's the other one that I cannot stand this because of this one meme that Gen Alpha absolutely loves. This video looks skibbity or something.
You mean skibbity?
Yeah. Like, I assume everyone at this point has heard of this stupid skibbity toilet thing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I don't understand it. I don't understand it either, because, I mean, it's supposed to... Technically, skibbity means good, I think, so it's technically supposed to mean skibbity good toilet, but... It's some weird brain rot cartoon that's popular.
That's the word I'm looking for. Brain rot. Why are we using this brain rot language? I hate it.
I mean, sometimes as a joke, I'll say like the Skibbity State of Ohio or the Skibbity Ohio River, but no one else uses the word Skibbity in Ohio like that to describe the actual state or the river.
It just sounds dumb and childish.
I know,
I don't know if
is.
it's just me growing up at this point, but it's just... Can we use English? Can we just have a normal conversation without sounding like complete morons?
Apparently
Is
not.
this really too much to ask? Yeah, it's just one of my pet peeves. I guess this is just a sign I'm old. Maybe I'm not a Zoomer. Maybe I'm a secret boomer. Who knows? The internet doesn't technically know my age, despite that I claim I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I complain about that. I don't like. I remember back in 2022 when there was somebody that commented WVid, and I had to ask that guy what that meant. Like, I actually have to ask commenters sometimes what their slang means.
Yeah, I hate slang. There's two things that I can't stand: slang and jargon.
What's jargon?
Jargon is so we talk tech. Jargon would include all of techie terms like, or let me focus on Apple actually. Jargon would include slang like AirDrop, iMessage.
Oh yeah.
It's technical terms. That's a name for. That's another way to say jargon. Jargon basically means technical terms in a given subject, and it drives me nuts when I have to study other subjects and people will be so jargony. It's like, what the heck are you saying? It's like when building a computer, most normal people have no idea what the heck a PCIe slot or a DIMM slot is. Nor will they understand like NVMe or SATA M.2. Nobody, or for me, the big thing I don't understand is networking. What the heck is the difference between IP address, MAC address? What the heck is all of this stuff?
I know IP address is technically where your computer is actually located, but I don't entirely know what the difference between IP and MAC address is.
Yeah, what's the difference? I don't know. And like, I'm a tech enthusiast. In theory, I'm supposed to know this, but I don't. I don't understand a single thing about networking.
Tabby used to be really
I gotta figure out how to do that at some point.
Tabby used to be really into networking, so he might know, but he's not here right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have a networking nightmare when that thing's fully assembled. So, yeah, it's just two things that drive me nuts: slang and jargon. Because at that point we have communication breakdowns.
Yes.
Where we have communication failures. And I hate having to try to guess what people are saying.
Same. It's not polite.
Yeah. So, it's a combination of that, and then a lot of the Gen Alpha slang, I'm sorry, it's just dumb, it's stupid, it's childish. Grow up.
To be fair, the oldest people of Generation Alpha are 15, so...
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, because Gen Alpha includes people born from 2010 to 2024.
I mean, my younger sister, is Gen Alpha. And she doesn't use that slang skibbity garbage. She speaks plain English, and because she can actually speak plain English, she's actually quite the comedian, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
she knows how to she even knows how to make adults laugh just by speaking regular plain English.
Same.
It's hilarious.
I mean, like a Mac, like I can say how a MAC address is technically the address of where a Mac is located. Get it?
If people know what a Mac is, because I actually do know some people who have no idea what even is a Mac. They'll know Apple laptop, but they don't actually know what Mac is.
I mean, they might know what Big Mac is, which is a giant Apple Macintosh computer.
I thought it was this giant burger you could get from McDonald's.
It is. I actually don't know how Apple can technically use that tray. I actually find it interesting that both Apple and McDonald's can use that.
Yeah, interesting how they haven't sued each other over the Mac branding. Actually, come to think of it, which brand came first, McDonald's or Apple?
McDonald's.
So yeah, I find it interesting that McDonald's didn't sue Apple over it. Unless the Big Mac didn't come out later.
The Big Mac I think was relatively early, but yeah. But to be fair, McDonald's is not exactly a company known for practicing ethics. I mean, Ray Ray Kroc literally stole the business from the McDonald brothers that initially founded it.
Okay, yeah, I guess. I mean, especially when it comes to ethics, they don't ethically put good ingredients in their food.
Oh, yeah. Place. Yeah, so. I don't even buy... I've literally never... I don't even buy McDonald's. I haven't been to McDonald's since... I haven't eaten McDonald's since 2018.
I've done it a few years ago just because it was late at night. It was open. I was hungry. Everywhere else was either closed or whatever, and so it was just... But even then, it's like... For one, the food is definitely not healthy.
It's not good.
Yeah. It's not good. And even the amount of food that they give you for the money, their patties are so thin.
I know.
There's hardly anything to their burger.
And like you can go to, and like for the same prices you can go to these big fast food restaurants, you can go to just a regular sit down restaurant and get the same food for around the same price. That's much better quality and tastes better.
Yeah, the only exception I found in the fast food industry, and while the quality of it may not be good, the quantity is certainly there. Funny enough, I actually found it's Burger King. It's not quality food, but it at least fills you up.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some smaller fast food chains out there that are excellent. Like Steak and Shake and Culver's are excellent chains. Oh, and Whataburger's another good one. All of these are... Well, Steak and Shake, I think, is national, but they're just a lot smaller.
I'm trying to remember. You said something about Culver's being a rarity in the Southeast. Is that true?
So there are Culver's locations in the Southeast. So if you go to big cities or suburban cities, then you're going to find Culver's. But otherwise, you're not really going to find that many Culver's.
Because, yeah, we got Culver's everywhere around here.
Yeah, the Culver's is... Yeah, I think a big problem why Culver's isn't quite as popular in the Southeast because, number one, they started in Wisconsin, but also, number two, they're just... I mean, they're just, like, especially for my city, they're just too expensive. Because I live in... Well, it's not as poor as some places. It's not as poor as some places, but it's definitely not the... There's not exactly money in my city. But yeah, that...
So...
But, shall I move on to my Idiot Award nominee while we're at it?
Yeah, we got so off topic on that, and we got a big one after this.
So
all right.
This one was on my YouTube video of back when I got another iPod Nano 7th generation, and I had this guy comment where I bought it from. Now, for context, let me grab it. It's this iPod Nano 7th generation that I got from one of my dad's friends, for free, by the way.
The blue one.
So, that guy commented asking where I bought it from, and I explained in the video, obviously, where I got it from, so clearly that guy did not watch that video, so I just commented my usual comment for stuff like that, and said, I say that in the video.
People are so lazy.
I know. Watch the video to find out the information. I do it all the time.
Yep. It's reminding me of my current video's performance. It's doing real bad right now.
Oof. I watched it not long after I got the text.
Yeah, it's at 4 views right now.
My videos are doing alright right now, but I'm curious to see how my video tomorrow will do about WWDC 25, because I missed that.
Yeah, because it'll be so late.
I'm kind of glad it'll be late, at least, because then it won't be overcrowded in a sea of videos about the event.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure whether I'm proud of my WWDC video or not, because on one hand, I don't know. I felt like I needed to be honest and just explain that there really wasn't anything technically impressive, and Apple's got bigger problems that unfortunately they didn't touch on.
Yeah, same.
But at the same time, I don't know, it feels like another iteration on what I've been complaining about for the past few months. Just this time, it's post WWDC, and yep, they did do exactly what I was hoping for, and here's why they needed to do a stability year this year again. But so I'm kind of mixed on my WWDC video, but I don't know, it's just something felt wrong with this one. Something felt so wrong with this year's WWDC, which
this is a natural flow into our next topic.
Yeah. So, I'll let you introduce it.
So, WWDC 25 happened when iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, macOS, and VisionOS 26 released. And first of all, I just have to say, this numbering scheme change is going to be real confusing, and no one asked for this.
Yep. No, nobody asked for this at all.
People want stability, not new flexing. And this is stuff that I'm going to mention in my YouTube video tomorrow. But one thing I pointed out about Apple's liquid glass scheme design that I hate is that this is the first time they've actively marketed a new design scheme. And you want to know who else has done that in the past?
I had to guess Microsoft.
Yes, like Microsoft did that with their, I don't even know what they called their, whatever design that Windows 8 was, and then the arrow theme in Windows Vista and 7.
Well, they did it a couple times. They did it with Windows Vista and the arrow design, and then they marketed Windows 8 with the new tablet / touch-friendly interface or whatever. So they've done it a couple of times.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Apple is going in the direction of Microsoft, which, that's irritating, as, I mean, FYI, TechAltar actually mentioned, with the stability too, it's also getting a lot more unstable, but TechAltar actually mentioned in his video about WWDC, the guy mentioned it in the Friday checkout, but he mentioned in the latest episode at the time of recording that when Microsoft released the HoloLens in 2015, they also did a glass-like UI similar to Vision Pro, and they tried bringing it to Windows with Windows 10. However, that failed because developers didn't adopt that because that wouldn't be cross-platform. And that guy Martin, I believe is his name. Martin raised a pretty good point about that because, developers might not necessarily want to do that with Android too, because developers like to develop cross-platform apps.
Yeah, and when they do that, they want to keep a similar design scheme on each platform to make it easier.
And furthermore, this new liquid glass scheme, from what I've seen, it has so many. Granted, this could get fixed, like with Apple's previous update, so I don't want to discredit Apple for this, but their liquid glass scheme is already just feeling not Apple, and overall, I can confidently say that
I kind of argue it does feel Apple.
The design does feel a little bit Apple, but at the same time, and the fact that it's not gray at first, that does seem a little bit Apple. But it's just
the design to me very much feels like Apple, which a lot of what has gone into their designs as of late is feeling light and airy. And light, while no, glass doesn't really reflect light in a sense. Well, except it is kind of doing it at the edges. It's light passing. I still get a light feeling theme with this liquid glassy new design. So I don't know. It still feels Apple to me, but there are some things that they 100% do need to change with it. The big one that I'm sure the rest of the community has already pointed out enough of is, and in fact, actually, this confuses me so much. Why is the text all white?
I don't mind that, but I do mind how. But the control center, the problem with that is when you slide down in the control center, which let me show you on my iPad mini to get a better view. When you slide down from the control center, it's like reflecting glass on top of glass, and so it's just looking weird. Mm-hmm. But again, I haven't actually used iOS 26 yet, so.
I mean, I hope they fix certain things. The big one for me is readability. As someone who's already visually challenged, this is not appreciated at all.
Wow. Oh, no. Like, even Martin from Tech Ultra mentioned how the design does make everything a little bit harder to read.
I mean, here's another thing, too. Like, here's the wallpaper on my phone. And when I swipe up to display the notifications, you can read all of these notifications. That calendar one might need to be censored out because that has an address.
I'll look into that. Yeah. I'll look into that more when I edit that. Edit this.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's the address to my church that I go to. That's what it was. But yeah, notice the notifications. They are so easy to read because despite that, it's a very busy background which can make text hard to discern. It's got this nice solid color bubble around it, so it's super easy to read. But with liquid glass, I doubt that's going to work on this very busy background. And
I mean,
especially because I've got certain elements that are white. You might have noticed that. How am I supposed to read that?
I mean, I'll have to see for that for myself. But I don't even know if I will be able to do that. Read that, and I'm not visually impaired.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint. It's right now reading those notifications. There's no way you could do it if you have a visually busy background or wallpaper like I have. And I don't want to change it to just a solid color that's not white just for the sake of reading it.
I'm hoping that Apple will fix that.
So, yeah, the big one for me is notifications. But, I mean, I'm also a bit worried about, like, how Control Center, I'll pull that up too. Notice how Control Center blurs out the rest of the wallpaper.
Oh, yes, that's
focus and emphasis.
That's what I was trying to describe.
Yeah, but now with the new one, I mean, I like the liquid glass touch. My worry is if it gets busy. Like, say, you have the notifications. You scroll down for notifications, but it's a little bright outside and you can't read them. I need to go into Control Center and turn up the brightness. Well, now you got the glassy bubbles with the notifications, and then you got the glass bubbles of the Control Center on top of that. To me, I'm worried it's going to become messy.
Same. Yeah, I mean,
the design works if there's not too much going on in the background. The problem is once you actually start layering all of these elements on top of each other, it just becomes a mess.
They're probably going to eventually have to do. I hope they eventually implement some more blurring to that type of stuff, those type of UI elements. But yeah, I
mean, I can't show it because my phone's on I'm using the phone for continuity camera. But I mean, we have frosted matte glass.
Yeah, so I think Apple should try that with that would actually make more sense for some software elements than hardware, but there are some.
But I mean, you could argue that these tiles, as they are kind of like frosted glass right now.
But there are. So, but I will say about iOS 26 or System 26, I'm gonna call it. But I will say about Apple System 26 is that they do. What am I trying to say here? There are some features of them that seem like they're genuinely useful, like fixing the Photos app.
Did they actually fix it? Because funny enough, I still have not actually watched the whole keynote. I just paid attention to the highlight videos that every other YouTuber's made.
I think Apple did change the UI of the Photos app. So again, so
if they changed it back to what it was before, that'd be good. Because like, if I recall, it should be pretty obvious to Apple that the iOS 18 designed Photos app is a complete failure. Legit, nobody likes it. In fact, everyone hates it.
Literally everyone I know hates it, and I'm not just talking tech enthusiasts. I'm talking everyone I know hates it.
No, yeah, legit. Like everyone, even outside of the tech enthusiast or even Apple enthusiast community. My older aunts and uncles and, well, I can't say grandparents because they use Samsung, but I mean, just even in general, older family members who don't give a single crap about this stuff, even they despise the changes to the Photos app. So it should be obvious to Apple, okay, we really missed hard with this and we got to do something about this because clearly everybody hates this change. We got to bring it back. It's legit, nobody likes it and everyone's frustrated with it.
To be fair, everyone hated how Apple removed slide to unlock in iOS 10 and they didn't bring it back on home button iPhones and iPod Touches.
I don't think non-tech enthusiasts hated it because
non-tech enthusiasts hate, like everyone in my family hated that.
Really? Because I can't think of anyone in my family who's ever actually complained about that.
To be fair, you did have some family members that used iOS back when they switched from iOS 9 to 10, right?
Well, my mom had her iPod Touch that came out in 2015. What generation iOS was that on?
You got it on iOS 10.
No, I think she got yours on iOS 9. Well, I got mine on iOS 10, yes. But my mom, she had hers back when the iPod Touch 5th gen came out.
Yeah. Okay, so she did have her. Huh. Well,
it was either on iOS 8 or iOS 9.
iOS 9 probably, because the iPod Touch 6th generation.
Yeah.
Whilst it did technically get iOS 8, it was only 8.4 and 8.4.1 because it released in July 2015, which reminds me, I gotta do a retrospective about that next month.
Okay. But yeah, she did have the slide to unlock. And when it changed to press home to unlock, she didn't care. I have a bunch of aunts that use iPhones, and when they changed slide to unlock to press home to unlock, neither did they raise a single stink about it.
I mean,
none of my family cared about this change at all.
Huh? I mean, did your other family members have Touch ID iPhones at that point?
Yep.
Okay, that's
why. They didn't care for the change.
That's why, because I mean, if you already use Touch ID to unlock your devices, then I guess you wouldn't care. But the problem was that back when I switched to iOS 10, I was using my iPad Mini 2, and let me grab it down to the stack, and my iPad Air 1. Neither of these have Touch IDs, so therefore I absolutely hated that. But also I've been using iOS for several years at that point. But like all of my family members hated that change though. But to be fair, I guess I should say that my family members never really use Touch ID even when they had Touch ID iPhones.
Well, even then, like, of course, my mom didn't complain about that. I didn't complain about that when they did that because, yes, I borrowed her iPod on the occasion. But, I mean, it's weird that you're telling me that everyone complained about it, and at least from my sphere of non-tech enthusiasts, they just didn't care.
And most of the...
I mean, it annoyed them at first that, they're so used to swiping, and then they had to push... The change was a bit annoying that they had to adjust to that, but they adjusted, and it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, they eventually... My family was like that too, and I mean, I sort of got... I mean, to be fair, I still am kind of mad about that change now, but now I have bezel-less devices, so I don't really care that much now.
So... But, yeah, at least from the community that I know, they didn't complain about this that much. But everyone that I talk to, everyone hates the Photos app.
Yeah.
Everyone does. That is undeniable.
I hate the iOS 18 Photos app so much, because the iPadOS 18 Photos app is basically the same.
Well, then macOS, too. macOS, and the only laptop the only device you update is your personal laptop.
Yes. That's because I can downgrade it back if I want to.
True, that is the one thing that they make easy to downgrade, but... Just, yeah, I hope they fix that, but... I mean, there's a few other features that I guess they added, like...
text screening.
It has to do with... Yeah, there's that. There's a call hold assist function, which I'm not sure how that's useful or anything. And then I'm listening to all these tech enthusiasts rattle these features off. I'm like, call hold assist. Like, how is that practical? You're still waiting. That, to me, that's the annoying part. Just waiting on hold. How is call hold assist going to fix the waiting? You still have to wait.
Same.
And then, again, the call screening thing. And maybe I'm just jaded or I just had the bad experience with the Pixel. But to my knowledge, when I tried using this, I found that it doesn't actually function as well in the real world compared to on paper. It makes sense on paper, but in the real world, when it comes, oh yeah, I do actually want to answer this call, the person on the other end is like, what the F? What is this stupid thing? It's not commonplace, and because of how jarring and unexpected it is, it just leads to a negative experience. So I honestly don't think the call screening thing is going to be as useful as, again, tech enthusiasts think. I've tried it, and in the real world, I found it doesn't actually make sense. Because, for one, if it's a scammer and all that, it's like, we have the ability to filter out scam calls.
Yes. The same goes for text, too.
Very well today. Yeah, same for text messages. So, yeah, if it's someone that you're going to, like, nope, I want to turn this person away, then, yep, we've got filters for that already. And then if you do end up wanting to answer the call, the first thing you're going to discuss on the phone is, what the blank just happened here?
Exactly. That's just going to take time, but...
Yeah, I don't find that feature useful at all unless you really want to make your friends upset. And then... I don't know, the call hold assist to me, I really don't know what you can do to fix call holding. Like, I don't even know what it's supposed to assist with. Because for me, my biggest complaint when it comes to being on hold is just the waiting.
Yeah, same.
Because, at least as of right now, there's good indications when you know you're on hold. Like, background music, many call holding services offer a choice of background music to play from. Like Apple offers different choices of music, or the options of silence if you really don't want music. which for me, that would drive me nuts because then I don't know if I'm still on the line or if I'm just holding up a phone to my ear for no reason. But I don't know. The call holding thing, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me because that's the big issue everyone has is wait times. And that's nothing software can fix.
Exactly. And I mean, in short, it seems like Apple WWDC 25, just a big distraction from from Apple getting rotten.
Yeah. My big disappointment. I wanted to be excited about some of these things. Like apparently iPadOS is getting some UI changes, although I don't know. It's just every change that I'm seeing is not to make any of these devices better. The redesign, as cool as it is, I do like the design. It's just
but we don't need it right
practical.
now.
Yeah, and that too. We don't need it right now because, as I mentioned in my recap video, if the core of the device doesn't function, then why do the bells and whistles matter? It's like, let's pretend that my car is having an engine problem. It doesn't matter if, I have this cool heads-up display and heated seats to make me comfortable and all that. None of that matters if your engine isn't working.
Exactly.
And that's exactly the issue with iOS, the iPhone right now. None of this design or call hold assist features, none of these bells and whistles matter if the stability of the platform is not there, if the core operating system isn't working. There is one cool thing though that I did that did come from WWDC this year that I will admit objectively is pretty nice. Polling in iMessage.
Oh yes, that's like the one. That is actually pretty cool.
I think that's the one actual good thing that came out of WWDC this year. But I mean, we've been talking about iOS. There's a whole new can of worms too that I don't know if a lot of people have paid attention or not, but apparently iPadOS has yet again another drastic redesign.
Yes.
Aside from the liquid glass.
I mean, I apparently has proper window resizing, which I mean, I'm going to be frank here. I don't think that iPadOS needs window resizing just for the simple fact. I mean, I don't think that iPadOS needs window resizing like a desktop like Apple's bringing to iPadOS just because just because that type of stuff is much more designed for a more precise measure of input, like a mouse or trackpad, which an iPad is not meant to have, really.
I mean, I think if you optimize it right, it can be done. And I do see many scenarios where pro users want it, though I personally would probably never end up using it.
Yeah.
It's just my complaints stem from apparently it has a new menu bar like macOS. And if you notice on the windows of iPadOS, you kind of notice the 3 dots for a traffic light.
Yes.
And to me, this is the big miss. Properly resizing your windows on the device, I genuinely think that is kind of needed for some professional stuff. But the menu bar, the traffic control,
that stuff is not designed for touch.
Again, it's hard for me to explain this to the community, the iPad community. It's just from multiple attempts on this. Don't even take my word from it. Take other YouTubers' word from it. that have tried to make this a quote-unquote laptop replacement. These people who have bought the Magic Keyboard case with the keyboard and the trackpad and all that, and pair a Magic Mouse to it. What do they always do at the end of every single one of these videos?
They all go back to their Macs.
Why? I mean,
because
is software
macOS
part of
just
it?
does
Yes.
this better. Just does it better.
But also the form factor. I can't understand why you would choose to add complexity to your setup. Because for one, I've said this time and time again. Trackpad on iPad versus Mac. Trackpad's just better. It's not even a software optimization thing. I mean, surface area size, clicking, feel, and functionality. It's just pure better on a laptop. And then because, they're trying to get the keyboard case as thin and light as possible to reduce the amount of weight from the overall package, well, now that means you got a worse quality keyboard. You got a trackpad with a worse click. And then here's a big complaint that I think a lot of people tend to forget with when it comes to tablets versus laptops, especially iPads versus the Mac. Connectivity. Port selection.
Yes.
As a pro user, I mean, I have a Thunderbolt dock connected to my desktop setup, but when I am away from my desktop setup, it is not uncommon I have multiple ports in use.
That's uncommon for me. That's just because I do everything wirelessly.
Yeah, true. But, like, when I'm editing on the go, there are times where I bring my external hard drive with me. And then I got my computer plugged in, and then, I'll also plug in my iPad into my Mac so I can use it as a secondary display. So, yeah, I take full advantage of my I/O. And then you get into the weird discrepancy of, if you want to extend, you want dual monitors with your iPad. When the majority of the iPad is optimized for touch, how does that work with non-touchscreen monitors?
It works, but it's not the best.
Unless you're using one of these, or the Magic Keyboard case, then what good is connecting your iPad to a display? Because at that point you're just, you're putting a 4:3 aspect ratio display on a 16:9 monitor.
That's the equivalent of connecting a really old computer to.
It's just clunky.
Display.
And every single time anyone tries to optimize a tablet into a desktop computing instance, it's clunky. And the funny thing is, all these YouTubers will complain about the clunkiness. I wonder why. It's because the iPad was not built for this sort of thing. So why are we continuing to try to optimize a device that is clearly not designed for desktop computing? Why are we still trying to get it to do desktop computing?
I don't understand. For me, it's just clunking up iPadOS so much, and I guess, shall I open up the can of worms about watchOS's workout buddy?
Not just yet, because I want to finish off iPadOS with the real problem with iPadOS isn't that it can't do desktop-like computing. Its problem is it can't do professional computing. Professional computing doesn't necessarily mean you need a desktop layout with a desktop mouse precision and all that. You can do real professional computing on a touch device. The problem is Apple chooses, no, you can't do professional computing. Despite that, we have Final Cut Pro for iPad. We've said it time and time again. It's not a professional video editor. It's just a fancier version of iMovie. But would any professional ever use it? Absolutely not.
I mean, it didn't even have sound. It didn't even have built-in sound effects at the start. And iMovie on the iPad from the very get-go, I mean, even the iPad 2's iMovie app you can add sound effects to.
Yeah, and it drives me
nuts. I mean, it has sound effects now.
There's this huge disconnect where everyone thinks, professional computing must be desktop computing. And the reason why this disconnect exists is because that's what everybody's seen. All of the professional computing, everybody has only seen it on the desktop. So naturally, everyone wants this type of experience on the iPad where, hey, bring desktop-like experiences to the iPad. But that's not what people want, and that's not what the iPad needs. What we need is professional computing optimized for a touch-friendly layout.
I mean,
as of right now, we've got the touch-friendly layout. That's not the problem. The problem is there's no professional element to the touch-friendly layout.
I mean, I actually used to, believe it or not, hang on, let me grab it. I used to do a lot of professional grade. I used to use my iPad Pro 9 7-inch and my iPad 7th generation for a lot of my schoolwork. So my iPad
and it can do that. And there are touch optimized applications to do that type of stuff on an iPad, and it makes sense. I mean, typing up documents might be a bit questionable, where you'll definitely want a proper physical keyboard. But to make minor tweaks in documents, like, I don't think anyone would complain about the software keyboard enough to be mad at it.
Yeah, it's not bad for that stuff, but just as soon as you try to do... But now I have to use a Mac just because, I mean, I don't want to edit, just because I don't want to edit like a full podcast episode on my iPad. My iPad cannot handle that.
No. And then
that's
you're
why
doing
I got
it
the
on a
iPad
small
mini,
screen,
just cheap
which
out.
I mean, yeah, because like all the professional stuff you'll be doing, you're doing it on the Mac, and then it's not like the iPad can do the specific professional stuff that you're doing anyways.
Exactly, but moving on to watchOS's Workout Buddy. As someone who does work out, I just don't like the Workout Buddy feature because I don't like to be talked to.
AI thing?
Yeah, like, I don't like to be talked to by real people while I'm working out either. And I think the problem that Apple is missing out on is that most people, when they work out, either work out with...
This is where the AI buddy belongs.
I know, yes. I have a trash can in my room to show you. But I don't... But most people are either, with another person to have them spotting, or else they're... Especially if they're working out for team sports, or they're listening to music, or both.
Yeah, it's more AI BS that nobody asked for. It's more stuff just to please the shareholders.
Exactly, but shall I move?
I think we really need to pitch that. The current publicly traded company business setup, at this point, it's officially broken.
Yes.
Because now it's now effectively forcing these companies to produce absolute crap, and everybody loses. Except the shareholders. They get a quick cash grab.
Exactly, but speaking of losing, shall we talk about a lawsuit that Apple has at them now?
Regarding iCloud backups, how relevant is that to my latest video?
So, I actually need... So I haven't read too much into this, so this is actually from a MacRumors article that I need to find. So let me see about this iCloud backup thing. Oh, by the way, from John Prosser from Front Page Tech hates. He hates iOS 26.
I'm not shocked. Because, I mean, when it comes to... Genuinely, the biggest person I can think of to get on Apple's hindquarters about iOS bugs, it's always been John. It's always been him. Because he started out on iPhone, and then when iOS 7 came around and introduced all sorts of bugs, he left and switched to Android because he was tired of... Well, he got frustrated with iOS, and then he came back with the iPhone XS on iOS 12, the year Apple decided, hey, maybe we should take some bug zappers and a few mops and clean up this mess. Because in case anyone forgot, iOS 11 was pretty bad in itself. So after that, he ended up going back to iOS, and he was grateful that they did take a year to just clean up the house. And ever since they started getting sloppy again with, I don't recall, I don't think it was, did he start with 15 or did he start with 16? 16 I know was particularly bad. I don't remember if 15
16
was having some issues with.
It was just 15.3.1 tab. I know Tab had a lot of issues with 15.3.1, but...
Yeah, there was at one point where it was either during iOS 15's reign or 16's reign where he came out with a video titled "Apple Sucks Now and It's Your Fault," and it was all on the premise of iOS has gotten sloppy again, where we got more bugs coming in and nobody is asking Apple to clean it up.
I personally agree, but okay, I looked up what the law. I looked up what the lawsuit over iCloud backups is, and I have sad news for you, Alpha.
Oh dear, what is it?
It's part of the antitrust lawsuit that was filed in March 2024.
Oh gosh.
But
gosh.
So here's the claims. Number one, Apple is not letting third parties get access to key encryption features. Number two,
that's literally the point of encryption.
Apple is withholding people. Apple is becoming a monopoly via their base of 5 gigabytes.
Okay, we all complain about the 5 gigabyte thing, but should they be forced to upgrade it by a government?
No. No. I hate admitting this, but it costs a lot of money for Apple to upgrade the store, for Apple to increase the amount of storage in iCloud servers. Because think how many iCloud or Apple accounts, I guess now, but think how many of those there are. That's going to cost Apple a ton of money, and this isn't like with raising people's salaries. This is just raising the ability for people to store data for free.
Yeah, because at this, what would they up it to? What does the government want Apple to up it to?
Remember back in late 2022 when the United Auto Workers Union when the Auto Workers Union for Ford, GM, and Chrysler went on strike, and
sadly I do, and they demanded, so mad that they won,
and they demanded salaries that the car companies couldn't even afford to pay.
Yep.
This could possibly get into that territory.
Yeah, but I mean that's not even the biggest thing that irks me right now. My thing is, dude, what is the point of encryption? Clearly, the government has no idea what it is, and they should know what it is. Because they use encryption all the time with their work. Government federal agencies, they use encryption all the time. Do they not understand the point of it?
Yes, the point of it is to keep their documents secure. Like, for example, Apple letting third parties get. This is going to be a quite controversial statement, but Apple giving third parties the access to their key encryption is the equivalent of the United States giving Iran our our access to our encryption. That's the literal, or it's equivalent of the government.
That is literally the equivalent of it. Absolute lunacy, what they're saying. That would be in complete violation of our Fourth Amendment right there. If they forced Apple to give that up.
And mind you, the Apple can't appeal for that in the Supreme Court. And they should. They very much should. That is the government has already had a lot of big no-nos for me. That tops them all. This shows they clearly do not want what's right for the consumer. Because getting rid of data encryption like that, well, okay, it's not gone. The problem is, if everyone has the key, then where's the security? It's like giving everyone in the world a master key to all the data. At that point, where's the security if everyone has the master key? I know, part of me is, I'm seriously wondering who all is behind this lawsuit, because we know Apple's rivals are behind this lawsuit, deep down.
Absolute morons. Oh, Apple better fight them real hard on that.
Same, but... Shall we move on to our next topic, speaking of morons?
Oh, gosh.
So...
HP Dimension.
I wish Tabby was here for this one, because it's about HP, but... The HP Dimension is a $25,000 device that is the first Google Beam device that is for holographic video calling, and the license for the Google Beam software is sold separately at an undisclosed price.
Just a quick reminder, what's Google Beam again?
It's like a holographic video calling service. In other words, it's very stupid.
And people wonder why they're seeing less and less HP devices on the market these days. I'm serious. The number of HP computers and products that I'm seeing out in the wild, it's decreasing. Especially when it comes to printers. The only HP printers I find nowadays are old ones. They're not new. And gee, I wonder why nobody is buying a new HP printer. They are absolutely hostile to their customers. It's definitely proven in the printer space how they charge an obscene amount of money for their ink, and they do everything in their power to make sure you can only use their ink.
I know, that's enough. Couldn't you technically argue that's another case of antitrust?
That is absolutely hostile to the customer. And they've got no problem with it.
That's not an antitrust story, but that is definitely hostile behavior. And
it's not antitrust, it's anti-consumer and a very aggressive anti-consumer.
Same. That's totally what... this proves Tabby's video from 6 years ago that's still correct today, which is that HP is a terrible company. And I wish Tabby was here for this episode.
Yeah, now everyone wonders why they're seeing fewer and fewer HP devices on the market. At this point, it's common knowledge. Everyone knows, do not buy an HP printer. You'd have to be an idiot to buy a brand new HP printer these days.
HP printers are now integrating AI.
Oh, lovely. Exactly what we need. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot more Brother printers in people's homes and in office spaces. Everyone is getting rid of HP because they are so fed up with this anti-consumer nonsense.
Same. My family had an HP printer that didn't work, so my mom let me get my Polono printer, which I keep it in its box, but which I have right here. My mom let me get this, so that way if I ever need to print out anything, I have a reliable printer to do so.
Yeah, it's like my mom is not a tech person at all, and she was absolutely furious with her printer.
This is a small company, but this is so much better.
Yeah, I mean, our new Brother printer is awesome. It's actually way faster than the old HP printer.
Yeah, I mean, most of the printers in my school are now Brother printers.
Mm-hmm.
Which my school district also doesn't allow many teachers to keep printers in their own room because they want the teachers to. I don't know why, but other than probably pure idiocy.
Well, yeah, it's either businesses are either buying Brother or Xerox.
Or Epson, that's another one.
Oh yeah, right. That's the other one that I couldn't remember.
And Canon.
Oh yeah, I suppose they're into like the physical media space too. So, but yeah, just in general, we're seeing a lot of HP products fall out of fashion, and the thing is, their CEO, they don't see the problem. The CEO clearly doesn't see the problem. In fact, they say anyone who doesn't want to pay for our overpriced ink or buy our printers, they're just a bad investment then. These are your customers.
I know.
This is how you feel about them?
I know. I guess I should mention this, but Steve Jobs actually worked at HP when he was 12. Which is how come HP and Apple have a special partnership.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, yeah, they had the HP, Apple and HP collaborated on a specific iPod Classic, if I recall.
They collaborated on, I think, the 4th and 5th generation iPods. The first iPod Mini, I think, the first iPod Shuffle, and yeah. Or no, it was just the 4th generation iPod. Well, my parents both had the
HP version of the iPod, so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the last time my parents have ever bought an HP product was the printer. The time before that was my dad's Windows Vista laptop, which, that was a nightmare in itself. But no,
shall I move on to our next topic, speaking of Windows Vista?
Oh, gosh.
So a bug in the latest Windows 11 beta has it with the Vista startup sound.
I'm trying to remember, and it's because I've never actually used Windows Vista. I jumped straight from XP to 7. Is the Vista welcome chime and the 7 chime different, or are they the same?
I think the Vista chime is relatively similar to 7. I don't
actually know if they're different or not, because again, I've never used Vista.
I actually could install it on one of my boot camp on one of my Vista boot.
I don't know why you'd want to, because I hear it's a complete disaster.
I'm gonna watch a video of it booting. It's the same as Windows 7.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But one guy mentioned on Twitter how that was basically showing how Microsoft is getting bad at debloating Windows to the point where it still had old files that could be uncovered. Which, I mean, makes sense because the Windows 7 setup UI, or the installation UI, looks a lot like Windows 7.
Yeah, I suppose Vista and 7 share very similar startup UIs.
Yeah.
I think they're slightly different, but...
Yeah, they are.
I don't think that difference really matters, but... Yeah, that's funny. I'm trying to figure out how to create a custom startup screen for this thing right here.
Well, that's actually kind of...
They say it's supposed to be easy, but I haven't had much luck yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be able to do it on macOS, but I don't know if you still can.
Well, I'm trying to do it because this is a custom machine, and I thought about putting like my brand logo up on it because I'm technically the one who assembled it.
That's true, but yeah, I personally like the Vista startup sound, but Microsoft did say they're going to get rid of it in the next beta release, so yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I move on to our next topic, though?
Yeah, I agree.
So the Danish government and several local governments in Denmark are want to ditch Microsoft software for Linux and LibreOffice.
Gee, I wonder why. Can't possibly be because a certain operating system in particular that I'm not gonna name, Windows, absolutely sucks something fierce now, could it?
I think it is. I mean, China banned Windows, and the German government, I believe, also switched away from Windows.
I don't know why anyone would want to use it for any of the... People say that, Windows is for the professional or something. I'm sorry.
It's not now.
How? With its widely known stability problems, how can you argue it's for the professionals when stability is key for that type of environment?
I know,
just asking.
When I used Windows for hang on, let me grab it. When I was using my old ThinkPad, when I used my ThinkPad running Windows 10 for schoolwork back in 7th grade, I got the blue screen of death.
I got the blue screen of death a few months ago on my XPS just from browsing through File Explorer.
I got the blue screen of death just having the web browser open on my school's site back then.
So, yeah, I'm not shocked, and good for Denmark.
Yes. Shall I move on to our next topic that is also maybe good news?
Ooh.
Wikipedia apparently was rolling out AI-generated summaries of their articles, but because their editors protested, which I'm sorry I don't like Wikipedia's editors, but that's aside of the point, but Wikipedia is at least pausing their AI-generated summaries, which, I mean, hey, pausing AI, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Now, they just need to go a step further and toss it in here. It's not that hard, Wikipedia. It's not that hard. These things are plenty available.
Exactly. Wikipedia should throw away their AI. But shall we go ahead and move on to our next topic, though? Which is actually a very exciting topic.
Well, exciting. It kind of depends on who you ask for exciting. But, all right. It's kind of exciting to me, at least.
So there's a new Tesla Model S and X, which I'll let Alpha lead with since I was in Europe when this happened. So I haven't done a whole lot of research on it.
Well, the truth is, I haven't done too much research either, but I do know that it's not as big of a refresh as what people might think it typically would be. Like, there was no major interior or exterior redesign. They did change something with the front, actually. With the little grill portion, they changed that up a bit to make it a little more aerodynamic.
Did it make it more
cyber? It's not a big
change,
but...
Did it make it more like the Tesla Model Y?
No, it's still very much Model S and X.
Ah, that's good to know.
So, yeah. Thank goodness, too, because I don't like the cyber design. So, yep. So that's there. There's not many changes to the interior other than they added ambient lighting. They added a front bumper camera like they did with the Model Y. And have they added that to the 3 just yet? I think they did. I don't know. I think they added it to the 3, but yeah, there's now a new front bumper cam on each. We've got a new paint color, frosted blue metallic, which I haven't fully decided whether I like it or not. I was a huge fan of their deep blue metallic, and unfortunately, you can't get that paint on those vehicles anymore.
Darn it! Let me look up.
It's a big bummer for me.
Frosted blue metallic.
But I thought they added a second paint color too. I don't recall. Let me pull it up.
I kind of like it.
It's okay. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's not like my top go-to favorite. So, all right, let's see.
Let me go to Tesla's website.
Oops. I'll do Model X just for now. Model X.
Order now, Model S.
So let's see. We got Stealth Gray, Pearl White Multicoat. That's not changed. Diamond Black. So they did change the black, I believe. Yeah, the Frost Blue Metallic, Ultra Red. That's not that new. And oh, they haven't offered this color in nearly 8 years.
What is that?
Lunar Silver.
I personally hate it, but I hate neutral colors in cars.
Yeah.
Let me actually see what a plaid.
The only reason why I like this was this is better than like their Midnight Silver Metallic that they ended up replacing it with or whatever. But I mean, Lunar Silver, they used to offer this on like the original 2017 Model 3 when that came out. That had a Lunar Silver paint option. Then 2018 they got rid of it completely. And so I mean, it's still a neutral color. I don't like neutral colors, so would I get it? No. But I mean, if you have to pick something in between black and white, at least keep it closer to white. Make it bright. Because, I mean, remember that Midnight Silver Metallic that they used to have and is still sadly extremely a common sight? Oh, is it just awful. It looks so bad. So bad. I cannot stand looking at it. And then I feel the same way about even like the Stealth Gray. I just hate these bland neutral colors. Somewhere in between black and white. I cannot stand it. But yeah, it also got new wheel designs. Let me see. Are there any other visual changes? Not much that I can see. Yeah, there's the ambient lighting that they added to, and I think that's pretty much it. They did slightly increase the performance of the Plaid Model S.
I mean, that makes sense because they kind of have. Because I mean, Tesla has to keep up. Tesla has to keep up with the S Plaid since that's their performance car.
Yeah. The biggest disappointment, in my opinion, that I really wish they would have addressed, it's still 400 volt, man.
Oh, yeah. That's a small problem.
They should have gone 800 volt.
Would they be allowed to make the cars more powerful if they're 800 volt?
Oh, definitely.
Well, Tesla needs to do that because they have to. I mean, Tesla still has to make sure, especially the S Plaid, at least make the S Plaid 800 volt because that needs to, because it's designed to rival all these other big performance cars.
Yeah, and I just wish that they would have done something with charging. I mean, back in the early days when all these other EVs were kind of just starting to come out, yeah, Tesla was ahead in the charging game. They peaked at 250 kilowatts, and the curve was pretty okay. But nowadays, now we've got the Lucid Gravity with its insane charging curve. The Porsche Taycan with its insane charging curve. And then we got the Chinese stuff going on with Tesla, their absolute insane charging
curve. The Model S needs to have Chinese EV level charging.
Yeah. It's kind of time that they start to get up there, because while it's barely adequate today, it's not unlivable. That's the thing. It's not unlivable. It's not the most offensive charging times and curves out there. But by its competition today, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Especially when we're... Especially, Model 3, okay, it makes sense. That's a volume car for the everyman. But, the Model S, the performance car?
The Model S is not for the everyman. The Model S is for people who actually care about charging speed.
It's I expect Tesla's best with that.
I mean, my plan is to start out with a Tesla Model 3, but once I get more money... My plan, as I advance into my adult career, my plan is to eventually go up to Model S, and then I've
been saying, if my car Stardust, if that were to get totaled tomorrow, because I don't plan on going anywhere tonight, if that were to get totaled tomorrow, I am 100% replacing it with a Tesla, be it a used Model 3 or maybe even a used Model S if I can get one for a screaming deal. In fact, I don't know about you, but I've been debating between, do I go new Model 3 or do I go slightly used Model S?
Can you get a slightly used Model S for around the same price as a Model 3?
Yeah, you can get a slightly used Model S for roughly around the same price as a brand new Model 3 today.
Okay, then. I mean, my first car is going to be a used Model 3, but if the Tesla prices stay relatively similar, then I might just get a used Model S, because, I mean, the Model S is still ultimately going to have some advantages over a new Model 3.
Yeah, you're going to get more interior space, you're going to get a higher range, assuming that the battery wasn't completely trashed by the previous owner, but, I mean... Well, yes, technically Model S still has a longer range compared to the Model 3, albeit it's not by much. But you're going to have a better charging curve, actually, because you've got a larger battery pack. Model S does technically charge better than Model 3, albeit it's not by a lot. And then, did I mention more interior space?
Yes.
I think I did.
Which again, interior space is the driver display that people hate about sedans.
Yeah, you get the driver display too. That's a big one for me.
Does the Tesla Model S have a heads-up display?
No, it doesn't. But it does have the traditional driver display that our cars today have.
Even my dad's M6 from 2016 has a heads-up display.
I know, at this point the Model S really should have a heads-up display. It really should. And the Model 3 especially.
The heads-up display is one of the most useful features in driving ever. I mean, I haven't driven my dad's M6 in actually over a year, because now I mostly do driving on my own. But yeah, the heads-up display is such a nice feature in a car.
Dude, I wish my car was equipped with that option. It's an available option on my car, and it doesn't have it.
Oh, and doesn't your dad now want a newer truck because he found out what a heads-up display is?
Well, he doesn't need it, and nor does he really want it. He just thought it was interesting that it existed. But
Yeah.
I mean, if he's given the choice to include it or not, he's not going to include it. Because I know him too well. He really doesn't care about bells and whistles. He cares about mechanical truck performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, which reminds me, I still got to keep my eye out on used 3/4 ton GMC Sierras.
And are you still looking for a possible Canyon for yourself?
Yeah, I'm still looking. I'm not particularly happy with the budget that I'm going to need to set for it. And that's because I thought I was going to be able to pick one up for like 15 grand.
Oh.
But then I learned, well, it's not necessarily because they'd be in bad condition. The problem is the engine that those trucks are spec'd with.
What is that?
The one that I want is the V6. The problem is the ones at 15 grand, they're not the V6. Unless they're in real bad condition.
Oh, please. They're 4-cylinder?
They're 4-cylinders.
I don't... In a truck, you gotta have... In a truck, I would want at least a V6.
Well, if it's a mini truck like the Maverick, then that makes sense. But it's not a mini truck like the Maverick. It's a mid-size pickup.
Yeah, in a mid-size pickup, you want the V6.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the V6 ones that are in decent condition, they're putting me closer to 20 grand. And at that point, I might end up having to get like the top of the line model considering how much they cost at that price point. I'm not going to complain too much because, I mean, I do like Denali's. And
I mean, you're buying a whole nother vehicle. So I mean, for 20 grand, if you're going to get yourself a decent truck, I mean, that's not too bad.
Yeah. I just wish I could have paid less for it because the ones that are starting at 20 grand in nice condition with the V6, they're like, I'm targeting no older than 2017 because the ones before 2017 had I won't say it's a worse transmission, but it's a downgrade. The one in the 2017 and newer has a 8-speed automatic. I believe the older ones have a 6-speed auto. And I want the 8-speed for a better fuel economy. It does help with fuel economy. So that's why I'm targeting no older than 2017. And yeah, those all start at like 20 grand. In nice condition. And I'm looking, okay, maybe I don't need the Denali. I should just downgrade to SLT. One thing I know I'm not budging on, it needs to have heated seats. That is not negotiable. And unfortunately, you don't get heated seats until you get to the SLT, which is one step below Denali.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you live north of I-90, I think you need heated seats.
So yeah, I found that I initially was considering don't go overboard because, for one, it's supposed to be a utility vehicle. The nice car is Stardust, and eventually the nice car will be a Tesla. But it would be nice to have a proper utility vehicle that I don't have to worry about getting dinged or scratched. And even though, yeah, it'll be a $20,000 vehicle, it's going to be painful to have a scratch or ding in that. It's a truck. It's supposed to be used. So that's why I wouldn't care as much. But yet, from the looks of it, the price difference between the SLT and the Denali, I might be springing for a Denali, man, because it's not that different.
If you can afford it, go for the Denali.
I probably would. Genuinely, I probably would. That would also save me from having to do a few upgrades to bring it up to my personal standards, too. Such as a heated steering wheel. Standard on the Denali, not available on SLT.
Alright, well, speaking of GM, shall I move on to our next topic?
Oh, yeah, this was in the news. I forgot. The Corvette.
So, the 2026 Corvette is going to be... I have sad news. It's going to be a hybrid. But it's going to have at least 1,000 horsepower. And the reason why they're making it a hybrid is to be like F1 cars. But here's my problem with the hybrid. First of all, hybrids are a lot more likely to combust than either a plain gas car or a plain diesel car or a plain electric car. And whilst
actually, I think I learned that actually diesels technically have the highest likelihood of exploding.
Well, most people don't drive diesel.
The runaway diesel? Okay, well, have you heard of the runaway diesel engine?
No, I haven't.
So, what? A big warning to people who drive diesel vehicles. And if there is technically a recommended period where you let the diesel engine idle after a long period of usage to let it cool down. If you don't, what can happen when you shut the quote-unquote shut the engine off, because it's not controlled by spark plugs, it can end up actually continue cycling. And because you shut off all of the systems to control it, it can spiral its way out of control, and eventually it will explode.
Okay, well...
It'll just rev its way all the way up till it can't handle itself anymore and just explode. It's called diesel runaway.
Okay, well that's a side of the point, but the problem is that if GM is trying to target the Corvette towards tracks, what is the biggest thing you see as a result of accidents in professional racing?
A lot of it is when cars crash. Oftentimes, a fire does happen. Yep.
And with hybrids, you're gonna, like, if hybrids are more likely to combust than plain gas or plain electric, so the fire might be
The reason why hybrids have a high likelihood, though, is if the engine and the electric motor become out of sync. That causes massive problems.
Yes, but that's just kind of a petty reason. But the big reason that I hate about it is that GM clearly doesn't understand that in order to make a proper race car, you need it to be as light as possible.
Yeah, that is a problem. Or if you end up going electric, like, say, the Rimac Navara or the Tesla Model S, which they do have weight to them. There's no denying that. But one key advantage that I don't think a lot of performance car enthusiasts bring up is the weight that they do have is so freaking low to the ground that it actually increases its agility.
Same.
Just a little bit.
Same. Same. So GM is failing to... And Corvettes are already lagging. And Corvettes are already not the best in terms of actual performance, because my dad has raced Corvettes before in his M6, and he always beats them.
Yep.
And I don't think the 2026 Corvette is going to... the 2026 Corvette, how much... I'm going to look up how much horsepower the Tesla Model S Plaid has. Because that's going to be its biggest
competitor. The Model S, I believe, has 1,023 horsepower.
So it's around the same, but let me look up.
Oh, wait, but they did just update it.
Yeah.
Well, the hard thing is, it's hard to find an official number because Tesla does not post this. They don't brag about it. They never sell you on horsepower.
2026 Tesla Model S Plaid HP.
Let's see. Vehicles.
So from
Plaid. This is top speed. Oh, they do advertise it on the Plaid right here. 1,020 horsepower.
Okay, so that's around the same as the 2026 Corvette.
Yeah. Okay, yep. So there, we still have our official number. It's 1,020 horsepower.
But at the same time, with the truck, but at the same time, in actual track performance, you're not going to. The Tesla will still likely win because there's just less weight to it. Or I mean, the weight is there, but it's lower to the ground than it is on the Corvette.
I mean, they're advertising that the new Corvette can do the same 0 to 60 time, which I'm not sure how believable that is, because part of the problem when it comes to trying to get cars to get up to speed that fast, you got to have as few transmission shifts as possible.
And of course, EVs don't have that problem.
Unless they're a Taycan.
Yeah, that's true, but other EVs, because they don't have transmissions, they don't do that, so...
Yeah, that's kind of in part how the Model S has its insane 0 to 60 time. It's not just because of the horsepower. It's because it does not have to slow the power source back down and do a gear shift. It can just keep building and building and winding itself up to higher speed. Because every gear shift inserts a bit of lag time.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of mad that I think the only reason why GM is doing this is because there's some pushback on their EVs. But at the same time, they're not exactly making their EVs the best. I mean, my dad even argued that the reason why he didn't like the all electric Corvette is because the Corvette is because, like it or not, the Corvette is largely a car for older people, and older people don't want their dream car suddenly electric. But this hybrid thing is not. But people fail to realize that hybrids are not the future.
They're unfortunately going to have to serve as a bit of a, say, training wheels for some people. Which,
they're going to have to serve as training wheels for some people.
My mom, for example, despite that, my mom does not like the idea of full electric cars. She did tell me that obviously my dad's going to get a big, huge, inefficient truck for doing work. And so to try to offset that, and a big complaint that my mom has with the Yukon has terrible gas mileage. In fact, actually, as of right now, the Yukon has the worst fuel economy in the entire fleet. I think she gets like 10 miles per gallon in the city and 14 on the highway. It is a very inefficient vehicle. Which, funny enough, our truck, we call it the Hoopty for silly reasons, which are obvious. That truck has the exact same engine, but because, for one, it's missing its bed, so it's a heck of a lot lighter right now, and because it hardly makes any power, it technically has ever so slightly better fuel economy. I believe it's 12 miles per gallon in the city and 15 on the highway.
Oof, but still better.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to imagine what the next truck my dad's going to get is. It's going to be worse because it's going to be big. It's going to be a diesel. Well, it being a diesel is supposed to help with fuel economy, but it's still a big, ginormous, heavy truck. So it's still going to get really bad fuel efficiency. And to offset that, my mom wants to get a more fuel-efficient car. And while she is completely closed on the idea of a fully electric car today, and I think because I currently own a hybrid, this is helping. She's not throwing out the idea of potentially getting a hybrid vehicle. Because I own one right now.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah, I mean, I used to kind of like hybrids, but now I just don't. But now I'm just like, nah, just get a But now I just think that just to make cars simpler, I just prefer either having a fully gas or fully electric car.
Yeah, I mean, the big one that's hard to argue against hybrid enthusiasts is it gives you flexibility on fuel type, which, I mean, hey, that is true. You do have the flexibility of, hey, say, hey, power's out. At least gas stations can run a backup generator to fuel up, and so your car can still technically go, but... Or say, hey, we get a big spike in gas prices all of a sudden. In fact, actually, we just recently got a big spike in gas prices here, which is a real unfortunate thing for me because I need to fuel up tomorrow.
Huh, the gas prices in my area haven't seemed to go up lately.
Oh, we just jumped from 280 to 320.
Huh.
Not sure why, but yeah, we jumped from 280 to 320 today, which that sucks for me because I need to fuel up tomorrow.
Gas prices always fluctuate, though.
True, but so yeah, having the fuel type flexibility, that is the one thing that I'll agree is kind of cool, but there's a bunch of trade-offs to having that. For one, you still need to maintain the engine, which means you got oil changes. You still have the complexity of the engine, so there's a lot of components that can break and go wrong, and this is why I still prefer to go full battery electric. Also, the batteries in hybrids tend to degrade quicker because you cycle through them faster.
That's true.
So that's another downside to hybrids, which I think kind of stems a lot of people's fear of batteries and EVs, because we've seen the degradation problems in older hybrids like Toyota Priuses and such. And I'm sure that has scarred a lot of people into thinking, oh, I'd never buy a fully electric vehicle because, oh, the battery's going to degrade in 5 years and I'll have to replace it. And that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. When it's just, for one, the battery is much larger. And a lot of people don't understand this at all, but the battery's larger, therefore you're going to cycle through it a lot slower. And then, two, battery chemistries have drastically improved since over the past decade and a half.
Exactly.
I mean drastically improved. Where, yeah, the rate of degradation is decreasing. And we're getting higher battery cycle lives out of our new chemistries. So, I mean, if I had to guess, the only way that the Corvette, they got the 0 to 60 time with the Corvette, my only guess how they achieved that is they're using the electric motor. They got a powerful enough electric motor, and it's bypassing the transmission.
That must be the only way, so you're probably not going to get that in the real world.
So if I had to guess, the way they're probably targeting it is they're going to combine both the engine and the electric motor. And when it comes time for the transmission to shift, because you can't just send your engine that high in the RPM like that, you're going to blow it at some point. My guess is during the process of the gear change, the electric motor is going to take all the grunt, all the work, while the transmission's shifting, and then once the transmission finishes. I can't English. Once the transmission finishes shifting, that's a lot of shushes. then the engine will add power back to the electric motor and such. I think that is the only way they're going to be able to do that, because it's just, I know how much time it takes to do a gear shift like that, and it does cost you valuable time, especially if you're trying to get 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds.
Which of course in these F1 races like GM is trying to target, that is very important.
Yep. So, I have no idea if my dealer's going to get one in stock, because, well, they do get Corvettes in stock every year, and I'm going to try to review one this year, which, Oh, am I gonna have a blast driving that thing? I still can't believe they let me behind the wheel of over $100,000 plus vehicles.
I mean, it's one of my friends actually used to want to buy an early 2000s Corvette as his first car after. Well, he currently drives his grandfather's old Dodge Ram 3500, I think, but he's now but he now wants a BMW SUV.
I think he'd rather a BMW sedan, not an
SUV.
Same. Because like, if he's buying a BMW because he wants a driver's enthusiast car, to get the SUV, that's your first mistake.
Yeah, same. Like your SUV, I've said it before and I've said it again. SUVs are or I haven't actually said this before, but I've said stuff similar to this. SUVs are for Karens.
Pretty much.
I'm dead serious.
Yeah, I hate the auto industry's push in North America for SUVs and such.
I know, I drove in Europe. I didn't drive in Europe, but I rode in a bus in both the UK and both England and France, and like there were so few SUVs there, and it makes sense for there because, well, Europe's roads are generally smaller, so they need smaller vehicles. But those people aren't. But Europeans don't complain about having smaller vehicles, so why should Americans?
If anything, they'd be more fun to drive. Because you don't have all of this weight and high centers of gravity to deal with.
I know. For now, the North American and car industry has moved so much towards SUVs. The only real practical gas engine cars for people these days come from the European brands, or should I say the German brands and Volvo.
Yeah, right. Volvo's still making sedans here. That or the Japanese with their
Aren't they
Toyota Camry and Honda.
Toyota's having some issues with their engines though, and the others are having issues.
Well, Honda's
too.
not, at least.
Yeah, or actually, I've heard of some issues with modern Hondas.
They don't have many.
Yeah, but still, like your best bet today is going to be with the European or with the German car brands if you want a gas car.
And for those of you who want a full all-American sedan, there's only one brand you can go to that makes an affordable sedan.
Tesla.
Yep.
Which that's a sad. I mean, I wish the other car brands would do it, since sedans are the most practical cars in the world, and for most people.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna buy. The only cars I plan on buying once I'm an adult are a sedan and a pickup truck. And the only reason that will ever and if my family ever gets to be bigger than 5 people, then I will buy a station wagon.
I'd do a minivan.
I would much rather do a station wagon because they're lower to the ground. And also
minivans are fairly low to the ground too.
Also, station wagons are typically made by brands like Mercedes, BMW, Audi, and Volvo. So station wagons nowadays are a lot cooler than minivans.
I don't know, because we hardly get any of them here from the Europeans.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, minivans are actually cool.
We're always lucky if the European automakers decide to bring the station wagon versions of their cars over. Because it is ever rare they do.
I mean, I think you can, there's actually there's actually a club where young men like mod their minivans to be powerful.
Have you heard of the one that bought a second generation Honda Odyssey and put a Tesla Model S Plaid powertrain in it?
How fast was it? Powerful?
Well, it's a Model S Plaid powertrain. It had 1,020 horsepower.
I think Tesla should personally make a station wagon and while they're at it, make a smaller truck.
You're not the only one.
But shall we move on to our final topic now?
What's this?
These are Pixel 10 rumors. So the Pixel 10 is rumored to get Qi 2 support, and it will have magnetic pixel snap accessories. That'll be magnetic pixel snap accessories. So in other words, the Pixel 10 is basically getting MagSafe.
Let's see, nope, it's too low. Darn it. Oh wait, but I can do this. It's kind of sticking. But yeah, notice it's not just falling off.
How did you get... Did you buy a magnet for the back of that?
No! No, this is just the plain Google Pixel 6 Pro back.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't have anything MagSafe to really test that with my Pixel 6a, so, but...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my AirPods Pro will kind of stick to the back of my iPhone's MagSafe case, but they'll fall off as soon as I put my phone down.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd say that the Pixel 10 getting MagSafe or getting Qi 2 support and the magnetic accessories, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. Good for Pixel users. Not necessarily me.
Yeah, not necessarily me either, but in other news, we're out of topics.
Well, what about your recent trips to... You have any highlights of Europe that you wanted to discuss?
I mean, I guess we could talk about that now that I'm home, but I saw England and France.
Yep. How was riding on the wrong side of the road in England?
It was fine. But the one thing...
My brain would be so confused going through. Like, I actually tried a Google Street View road trip in England, and my brain was already getting confused.
I mean, once you actually ride in England or ride in the UK or drive through it, it's not bad at all. But one thing I can confidently say about traveling overseas is that jet lag is not as bad as people make it out to be. Like I can barely feel it.
I don't even know what that is.
Huh?
I don't even know what that is.
So jet lag is basically when people travel to different time zones and have issues adjusting with sleep and all that.
Oh. Well, I do just fine then, because I have no sleep schedule.
Yeah.
I just go to sleep when it gets dark, and then wake up when it gets light again. I wonder if that has something to do with the... How many hours was it? Over 120 something hours I spent awake.
Oh. I guess I should mention that I've now been awake for over 24 hours. 24 hours at a time twice. Because
I gotta do that math again.
Because the day I left, I got up and then I flew from my closest airport to where my layover was in the Eastern time zone. And it was like 9 p.m. once I got on the plane in the Eastern time zone, it was like 9 p.m. And when I got to, France, it was 9 a.m. And so I was only on the plane for like 5 or 6 hours then. And just FYI, I cannot sleep on planes.
Neither can I.
I mean, maybe in first class or business class it would be easier, but yeah, I can't sleep on planes.
I can't sleep on planes because my nerves are too jacked up.
Yeah.
I hate heights. It doesn't even matter if I'm in the aisle seat. Just knowing that I'm miles off the ground is enough to trigger my fear of heights.
Huh. Yeah, I wasn't that afraid of it, but that's just me. But there was that then. And then because it was 9 a.m. in Paris, we had to go ahead and start doing stuff. So I didn't get home. So I wound up being awake for I don't know how many hours exactly, but it was over 24. I know that. And then the day I came home, I had to get up at 3:47 England time.
AM or PM?
AM. Obviously. Oh. And then obviously I couldn't sleep on the plane or anything like that because it was daylight, so I didn't fall back asleep until 9:47 p.m. my time, which in other words, I'm in the Central Time Zone for reference, so in other words, I was literally up for a hard 24 hours then.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That still doesn't beat my 120, though.
Yeah, no, it does not beat your 120 hours, and that was also because
of guys, do not try to stay awake for 120 hours. It is not a good idea.
I mean, to be fair, yours is because your roommates didn't let you sleep.
Oh. Yeah, towards the end of that trip, everyone was afraid to talk to me. Everybody was.
I would have let loose on the first night if that happened.
So, I'm surprised I was able to exercise my patience as far as I did, but wow. Oh, did I completely lose it on the final night.
I mean, didn't the other guys get recorders?
Yeah, what happened, well, this is second to final night because the final night was on our way back home, and I don't sleep well in planes and such. But, yeah, the night before we were supposed to leave, my roommates were playing a bunch of recorders that they bought from some gift shop. I think it was at Gettysburg or something.
You guys went to Gettysburg?
Yeah, they're just doing it in the middle. Yeah, we went to Gettysburg.
Oh, so you've been to Pennsylvania.
Yep, Well, the second time I went to D.C., we drove, so we ended up going through Pennsylvania again.
Ah.
So, yeah, the first D.C. trip, we flew in.
Yep.
But we also diverted to Pennsylvania, to Gettysburg, to the battlefield there. But yeah, they picked up some recorders from the gift shop there. And they decided in the middle of the night, just as I thought I was about to be able to finally go to sleep, for the first time in nights. Nope! They decided to play them as loud as they could in the middle of the night. And I scared them so bad.
I mean,
despite that I was definitely not the strongest person there, I was the oldest. And I scared them so bad.
What? Wouldn't the hotel theoretically... Doesn't the hotel have policies against stuff like that?
I don't know.
Because at that point, you'd be disturbed. Because at that point, because at one of the hotels I stayed at in France, the hotel owners literally had to remind my tour group, hey, we're not... it's not just you guys at the hotel at night, so please don't disturb them, so...
Yeah, why do you think they have to?
Huh?
Why do you think they have to remind you guys to keep it down?
Probably because of what happened on your trip.
Exactly, because they're going to do it anyways.
Yeah, it's common. I mean, that's common practice for hotels not to let you...
I mean, especially when it comes to teenagers being grouped up in rooms like that. Dude... They're teenagers. By now, they're in their rebellious rule-breaking phase. What do they care?
I mean, that's true. That's a valid point hotels should expect that all the time. Because, teenagers, especially if they're in school clubs, like they go on trips like that all the time when they have to stay grouped together like in hotels. That's normal.
Then sometimes you can't avoid it because, say, like a family has infants or toddlers. At that point, there's no controlling whether that happens or not.
Yeah. Yeah, if they have infants
like
or toddlers,
can try to do what they can as hard to get their kids to quiet down, but there comes a certain point where they're just going to cry and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's different, but I mean, for guys as old as you, as the guys that you went with, like the hotel would have had policies against that, but of course you couldn't have gotten another room because.
Nope.
Was the trip technically done through a company though?
It was done. Well, yeah, it was kind of done through a combination of a company and school funds.
So therefore, my theory on the only reason why I couldn't get you another hotel room is because they were.
I was just asking to be partnered up with somebody else. Just sleep with somebody else in a different room. And they couldn't even accommodate that.
That's because those companies typically won't do anything about that. Because the 8th graders at my old middle school could have gone on a DC trip, and I didn't go on that trip just because I wanted to explore DC on my own. But that's aside the point. But one of my friends was scheduled to go on that trip. However, one of the requirements is that either our 7th or 8th grade years, you could not have had a single day of out of school suspension, and you could not have had 2 or more days of in school suspension. So one of my friends got into trouble towards the end of the 8th grade year, to the point where he couldn't go on the DC trip. And mind you, this DC trip cost a pretty good bit of money. And it took them 3 months to refund his family.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, I was actually supposed to go to DC when COVID hit, but obviously that canceled it.
Yeah, the 8th graders that were in my general area, the years that COVID-19 happened in the spring of 2020 and 2021, I'm pretty sure they probably just canceled it for the spring of 2020, although I don't know for sure, but I know for 2020 to 2021 school year they didn't even offer a DC trip.
Well, that was the thing. I went in 2021.
You went a little bit later though.
I went in August of 2021.
Yeah, that was when restrictions had loosened a lot more.
Yeah, I still couldn't breathe on planes, though.
Did you still have to wear a mask on the plane at that point?
Yep, and I guess how well I was able to breathe.
Oh my, that would have been my worst nightmare to do a flight back then.
Yeah, I wanted to enjoy the trip, especially considering how much it cost. And I feel bad for my parents because they paid for the whole thing. And they're already poor enough as is. I mean, they wanted me to go because they wanted me to experience the world. And I'm very grateful that they helped fund. I mean, we've had some help from my grandparents to fund that trip, but most of it was my parents funding the actual costs to get me there. And I feel bad that I ended up coming home completely insomniated, if that's a word, and just they were extremely mad that for whatever reason they couldn't help me out in that. And it's like, dude, when you stay awake for like over 120 hours, that's how you develop insomnia. I might even have it now. I have not slept normally at all ever since.
Yeah, that's kind of their fault. You could possibly even have a lawsuit for that, but on school trips, I will say at least for most school trips, what you should have done in retrospect is you should have had your parents come along as You should have had your parents come along as chaperones or something like that.
They couldn't afford it.
Ah.
They couldn't afford it.
Because if you had parents come along as chaperones, then I believe that could be an excuse to...
And at the time, my sister was like 3 years old.
Oh.
And traveling with her at that age is hard. It's really hard. So...
Okay, that wouldn't have worked for your family then.
Yeah. So yeah, money and my little sister at her age at the time, it just would have made it too difficult to do. So...
Yeah. I had the option to bring my dad along as a chaperone to my trip to Europe, but I decided not to, at least this time. But my roommates were fine anyway.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then you need a break from your parents.
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to get a break from... my mom and sisters are currently down in Petoskey right now, and Dad's going to head down tomorrow, actually. So, I get the house to myself.
Why aren't you going with your family? Oh.
I have to play for the church again, and just in general, well, because the church pays me money to play for them, and like that's my second employer, by the way. So yeah, I could use the cash. I've already taken a few weeks off, 1 weekend off, just because I played for both Saturday and Sunday masses for like, was it 3 or 4 weekends in a row? I had to do both days, all masses. And so it takes a bit of a toll on me. So I took a couple week break, but because I took that couple week break, well, I'm missing out on payments and such. So yeah, I needed to do this weekend that, and it's like I just came back from Wisconsin, so
that's valid.
Even though I love traveling. That, and like my only time I get to do car reviews is Saturdays, and so.
Yeah, I guess that's valid. I guess that's valid for not traveling. And I mean, you've been to Petoskey a million times.
I have, yeah. I mean, the only reason why I'd want to go is because last time I visited Mackinac City, the charging infrastructure has changed so much. Last time I visited, this was before Tesla updated the version 3 supercharger there to have magic docks. And this is before Rivian installed one of their Adventure Network sites. So, there's a lot of changes in Mackinac City that I wanted to check out. The problem is, I can't do a lot of this with my family in the car because, for one, the majority of them don't want to get on camera, and I gotta respect that. And then, thing number 2, nobody cares about the charging infrastructure in my family aside from me. And that's the last thing they want to do. Get out and stop just so I can do my thing at the charging stations.
I know, for even though I saw the GM Energy thing in my area like months before I actually went, I just didn't bother going since the rest of my family isn't quite as interested, and also I don't go to that place where the EV charger, GM Energy charger is that often. So, and I was going there for something else, so I figured, I'll just stop at the charger on the way.
Yeah.
As I got permission from my mom to do so.
Did you notice that the charging cables on the Tesla superchargers looked a little off when you were in Europe?
I couldn't get close enough to them to see for myself. I was on a school trip again, so it was a lot more strict. But if I was on my own, then I would have definitely gotten a closer look.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, did you notice that there was a version 2 supercharger at the hotel you stayed at in France? And I could tell because a unique thing about version 2 superchargers in Europe, they don't have one cable attached to them. They have 2 cables attached to them. They have on version 2 superchargers. They have CCS2 because that's the standard in Europe, and then they have the old modified Type 2 connector for older Tesla Model S and X vehicles. So yeah, version 2 superchargers actually have 2 cables on them.
I didn't really notice that, but again, I couldn't get close enough to them to see for myself. But
yeah, and then the version 3 superchargers, which I don't think you saw any on your trip. The version 3 superchargers have a single CCS Type 2 cable on it.
I mean, I might have seen some version 3 superchargers off in the distance, but I did. But again, I was on a school trip, so I can. If I go back to Europe on my own, I will check. I'll check that kind of stuff out for myself.
Where was that BP Pulse charger that you saw?
That was literally. I was literally passing by that in the bus when I took that photo.
Oh. So that was in one of England's car parks then. That's what they call them, right? Car parks? Instead of parking lots?
I don't know.
I think that's what... I try to refer to all of the European stuff as what the Europeans call it. Like, they're semis. They don't call them semis. They call them lorries.
And of course,
and
fries.
Car parks.
And of course, fries are not fries in England. They're chips.
What?
Yeah, they call fries in England chips, and and what we refer to as chips in America are crisps in England.
Really?
Oh, and did I forget? And you know about the cookie biscuit difference, right? How cookies in America are
do know about that, yep.
And you know how... Yeah, so there's some differences like that. But yeah, like, have you ever had fish and chips? Most restaurants in America don't call it that, but fish and chips is literally just fried fish and fries. But that's a very famous dish over in England, which I did have, by the way.
I do love me a good fish.
The same.
Yeah,
if I ever go to Culver's again, I might have to try their fried fish sandwich.
That's probably going to be expensive considering where you're at.
Oh, Culver's isn't any more expensive where I live than it is up in the north. It's just that Culver's is a lot more rare.
It's not very remarkable around here. To me, it's just like another McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, another thing that makes Culver's special, especially in the South, is that their food is actually good. That's really what makes Culver's special down here. Like, people down here like Culver's.
We were in Milwaukee, and my cousins and I have tried, well, there was one restaurant that we've never been to, but you know Chick-fil-A, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not my type of restaurant at all.
You don't like Chick-fil-A?
I don't like Chick-fil-A.
Why?
Because a lot of what's on the menu is the same deep fried everything, and they do have their grilled chicken. It's just... It's like... it's not remarkable to me.
Yeah, I mean... Okay, I guess I should say, yes, Chick-fil-A stuff, I mean, it's not that remarkable. What they offer on the face of it, it's not that remarkable to compare to other fast food restaurants. It's not. However, the thing where Chick-fil-A really excels is their quality, because I've never gotten bad food from Chick-fil-A before.
I don't know, but deep fried everything doesn't seem like quality to me.
No, I mean, like, it's good deep fried it's good quality deep fried everything, I should say.
Yeah, it's just I really did not care for it. It's kind of been the case with a lot of fast food. Like, genuinely, Culver's is not a remarkable restaurant. I'll go, like, if it's open and if that's what's available, but again, a lot of it is deep fried stuff or burgers And the burgers are not that different from McDonald's. I'd say they're a little better, but not by much. It's really not by a lot. So, but yeah, Chick-fil-A, despite everyone loves them so much, it's like, no, it's a lot of deep fried stuff. And
I mean,
to me, if it's deep fried, it's not quality food. Because quality shouldn't just be how it's prepared. Quality should also be, hey, is this actually good for you? Is this not going to add so many pounds? I already have too many pounds as is. I'm trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I weighed myself a couple days ago. I'm 190 pounds. That's a problem.
Yeah, you're only like 40 pounds lighter than me now, because I've somehow I think because I eat a lot less. I think because I eat a lot healthier now, I've managed to lose so much weight. Because for the most part, I've had to give up fast food just because it just upset my stomach so much, and making that change and giving up fast food slowly to the point where now I only have it once every little while. That's helping me feel so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
I'm trying to stop going to Subway because, while Subway does have a better choice of food options, it's still not necessarily the quality food. Like, it's not quality deli meat. It's not quality lettuce. The bread is the worst part of it, actually.
Yeah,
it especially varies by location. And so, like, every now and then, sometimes I don't really have much of a choice. Like, this morning, I got up at like 8:40. I'm supposed to be out of the house by 8:40. I ain't got time to make a lunch. So I had to go to Subway today, and I'm not thrilled that I had to. I wanted to make a nice salad, but brain decided, nope, you're not going to get up until 8:40.
You set your alarm, right?
I slept right through it.
Dang. Well, I
told you, I don't sleep normally anymore. It's not predictable.
I mean, I sleep through. I mean, I guess I do go Subway quite often. But that's just because it's right in my city and I can get it. But if I'm in a place of a sub stop like Jersey Mike's, and I'm going straight there. Because for the same price, you can get a much higher quality sandwich from Jersey Mike's.
Mm-hmm. I've never actually been to one.
If you ever go down to where there's one, you should try one because I think you're going to like it.
All right. I'll have to go to a shot next time I go to the cities, which I don't know when that's going to be.
I guess I should say...
I know definitely August.
Yeah, you should pass by Jersey Mike's then, but in other news, it is 8 p.m., which means it's 8 p.m. Central, which means for us, it's time to stop recording.
Yep. It's crazy. It's 9 o'clock here, and we still got plenty of sunlight.
It's the sun sets at like 10 p.m. in France, by the way, in the summertime.
Yeah, here it sets at 10:30, I believe.
Wow. It sets at like 8.
Keep in mind, I'm like an hour from the time zone border.
Oh yeah, that helps.
So.
Yeah, what helps is that, what doesn't help me is that I'm right on the edge of the central time zone.
Yeah, I still find it hilarious how I'm further west of you, and yet you're an hour behind me. That's absolutely hilarious.
But in other news, as always, thank you all for watching another episode of the iTunes Fan, watching or listening to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, I'm saying peace out for now, and we'll see you all in the next episode. So, see you then.
See ya.